Yeah, so adoption is one.
Yes.
We do a lot of adoptions. Very exciting. On Friday, a little boy
Beautiful.
Was given up for adoption, 5 months old. Oh, he's so beautiful. And we really love doing adoptions. So we talk a lot to moms. And so our main project is pregnancy support. So
99 FM, your favorite radio station, your inspiration station. On Dunsi with Tim's on that song, Decided. And before that, we had Scratch Clark with a song called Siobonga, bringing us to MYD Heart for today. Now, Rosalind Schlabitz started out as a business professional, then turned photographer. But her true calling came when she helped out to establish the Hope for Life Foundation, of which she is now the managing director. She's going to tell us all about this and also just the inspiration behind why she decided to help with the establishment of this foundation. Good afternoon, Rosalind, and thank you so much for joining us here in 99.
good afternoon. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a
really
huge
an honor.
pleasure to have you. Please tell us, Rosalind, what kind of childhood, did you have and how it shaped who you are today?
Yeah, I grew up quite some time ago. I think a while before some of your listeners did.
Yeah.
And I had quite a typical childhood, mom and dad. My parents never divorced. I was really blessed with that. I had one brother. I have one brother. And when I was 16, my sister was born. She's adopted. And when I was 24, my brother was born. And he's also adopted. And my mom now fosters 3 other children. So I have landed up in my 40s being the oldest of 7.
That's beautiful. So beautiful. Now, you are a part of this amazing establishment, this amazing foundation. What motivated you to, be a part of establishing the Hope for Life Foundation?
I think it comes from my childhood, having an adopted sister and just seeing her history, where she came from and the impact that we had on her life. I remember she was sitting on my lap. So she wasn't adopted until she was 8. She was actually our cleaning lady's daughter. And she lived with us from when she was really small because her mum was an orphan and she was very young. And so she lived in with us. And then my sister Lizzie was born. And I remember her sitting on my lap one day when she was little and she said, are you my sister? And so technically not, but I just said, yes, of course you are. And I just saw the impact of having the need to belong.
Yes.
And so then when I got older, I volunteered a bit at a children's village called Rehoboth, actually, in South Africa. And when I moved here, once I got married to my husband, we also wanted to adopt. So we adopted our son. And just adoption, caring for children who wouldn't have a future has always been a part of my life. And so when my pastor and a social worker got together and said they were wanting to do Hope for Life, I said, we're in.
Yeah, so definitely. Yes. I'm game. I love that. Actually, you mentioned something about, wanting to belong and having a family. I actually come from a children's home. And yes, I understand, the importance for a child to feel like they belong. So just kudos to you and to your family, because adoption, I think more people should adopt and give kids homes. So that's really, really beautiful for you to say that. Please also share with us, some of the projects that you guys have or, do under Hope for Life Foundation.
Yeah, so adoption is one.
Yes.
We do a lot of adoptions. Very exciting. On Friday, a little boy was given up for adoption, 5 months old. Oh, he's so beautiful. And we really love doing adoptions. So we talk a lot to moms. And so our main project is pregnancy support. So those are the moms from any age group that find themselves pregnant and it wasn't planned and they're in a situation where they can't necessarily care for themselves, maybe their current children, and now the new baby that's on the way. Yeah. And so we try and give them options. So it doesn't have to be adoption. We can look at family support. We can find out what work they have. We have a lady who finds work for domestic workers. So sometimes we take CVs and do that. We try and get them on their feet. We find out what skills do they have. Maybe give them a little bit of entrepreneurship training so that they can earn an income. Maybe they need to find a new place to rent because the place they're staying isn't safe or it's too expensive. So that's one of our main projects. Out of that came Send a Child to School, because in visiting moms, we often found kids that should have been in school that weren't in school. Yeah. And it does cost. Even though schooling is free, there's still the voluntary fee, which you need to pay. And there's school uniforms and there's stationery as well. Yeah. So depending on the area the child is in, we try and send them to a school where they can walk. but also we want a good school where they can get a good primary education in order to get into a good high school.
Yeah.
It costs us anywhere between $2,500 and $3,500 for a year to send a child to school with their school shoes and nice warm clothes and a school bag and that. So we raise funds every year, and we have several children in school ranging from grade 1 to grade 2 now. And as they pass and they do well, and we mentor them and motivate them, we'll carry on paying for them.
That's
to
so
go
beautiful.
to school.
Oh my gosh, so amazing. Just before we get to the next question, Rosalind, just explaining what fostering means in terms of if I would like to, foster a child. What does that exactly mean?
We actually have a huge need for foster care in Namibia. Foster care is temporary care. So it's normally for a period of 2 years. That's when you get your court order for. And a child would come and live with you in your home as your own child for 2 years.
2 years.
And obviously, if the child is not able to return to their parents, sometimes they become available for adoption. And then other times the court order would be renewed over and over. So we know a lady, she is fostering a child, but she also has a relationship with her biological mother. The mother's not physically and mentally able to care for her, so she's legally fostered by another lady who provides support for that family so that they can function, and there is an adult who is mentally capable to make decisions for the young lady. So yes, foster care is a temporary thing, desperate need in Namibia for temporary care. We don't have very many foster parents available.
I actually have a lot more questions to ask about that, but because of time, we'll have that discussion after we're done with the interview.
Yes.
So you also have a really beautiful, inspirational story to tell us about your son, David. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Yes, I can share you a bit.
A little bit. Okay.
So I have 2 daughters, my biological daughters, and after that I couldn't have any more children. Both my pregnancies were high risk. And my husband is a man's man. He's a farmer, and he needed a boy.
He needed a boy.
Yes, and obviously I have 2 brothers, so you can't just have 2 girls. It was way too much pink. So
Too much pink, I like that.
we decided to get on the list to adopt a baby boy, and we waited a whole year, and no baby became available. We never got a call. And then we heard about David, our son, being born. And we said, no, come on, it's been a year. Let's go and visit him. He was in hospital at the time, and we went to visit him. And it was so incredible for me. They put him in my arms, and I looked at him, and it was the same emotion I had when they put my newborn baby girls in my arms. And he was only 3 days old, so it was the same.
Love at first sight.
It was love at first sight.
Yeah.
And then we discovered we actually weren't on the National Register as adoptive parents. Yeah, we can say, the government, and we can moan and complain, but if you have a look at how much work our social workers have, I think currently there's 6 social workers for Khomas. That's not enough.
It's not enough.
They have thousands and thousands of cases on their desk. So to fall through the cracks it's possible. And so then we paid a visit to the Ministry of Gender, and we said, hey, what happened? And they processed our paperwork, and they did a match, and our son came home when he was 3 weeks old. And
how old is he now, if I may ask?
He's 7.
Oh, he's big.
Yes,
big boy.
He's in grade 2, and he plays soccer, and he swims.
So beautiful.
And, what is very important for adopted children is also to realize they belong, because there's a certain amount of rejection that comes with being adopted, and you grew up in a children's home, you understand that. And so it's really good for him because he looks just like my brother. They're 2 totally different tribes. So my son is Oshivambo, and my brother is Sutu Zulu. So but they look like each other, they sound like each other, they have the same facial expressions, and just that is so important for him to know that he belongs. And my sister's come to live with us now, and she came last week, and I can see he's like looking at her, and he's figuring this whole thing out, and it's that sense of belonging and bonding that's so important.
So beautiful, man. Wow. Yeah, Rosalind, because I want to ask so many more questions, especially about adoption and then fostering and why it's so important, and also the procedures that come with that, what I need to do in order to be able to adopt a child. And maybe, we can have another interview to discuss that in the near future. Rosalind, before we let you go, just for our listeners, if in case they would like to foster a child or they would like to adopt a child, where can we contact you?
The easiest is to call us on our phone number, which is super easy. It's 081 2 665544.
Oh, I love doubles. That's pretty easy.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you just repeat it again?
So it's 081 266 5544. You can text us, you can call us. We're very busy, so please forgive us if we don't answer straight away. If you send a text, you'll get into our database and we will definitely get back to you.
Is there a social media platform, social media pages?
We have a Facebook page, Hope for Life Foundation Namibia. If you just type in Hope for Life Namibia, you will find us. Yes.
Rosalind, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming. I think, like I said, we definitely need to have another discussion on this. So I'll be calling you, or Linky will be calling you
That'll
for another
that'll
interview.
be great. I love talking about adoption.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
I've done many radio interviews on adoption, and we have such good feedback from it.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting when we can place babies in their forever
Yeah,
homes.
I love that.
And it's not just about the babies, you know, it's about the parents.
The parents as well.
Many of the parents can't have children of their own, and they're able to adopt, and it's beautiful for everybody involved.
I love that. Thank you so much once again for joining us on the show. Really, really appreciate it.
And it's awesome to be here, and I can't wait to be back. Thank you
Definitely.
so much.
Very soon, by the way. Very, very soon. That was MYD Heart for today. Such a beautiful interview on the show. We just had Rosalind Schlabitz, who is phenomenal. Parents adopted kids. She adopted a beautiful boy named David. So we are going to have her in studio again just to talk more about, fostering and the procedures and criterias. And also, if you maybe would like to adopt a child and give a child a forever home, like she said, that's going to be our next discussion with Rosalind. That was your MYD Heart for today.